Alright, welcome. So on GT7 here we're looking at the livery creator and trying to add layer decals accurately without any kind of distortion or unevenness in position or anything like that from layer to layer. So the original way that I learned, and I think a lot of people kind of end up learning, is to grab a layer, place it on. You're going to want to resize it to whatever size you want. And let's say 90% here. And there is some, you can kind of see it. There is some variation within each percentage too, so that's going to play a factor here. Because if you're trying to manually resize every layer as you place them, they're going to be slightly different size. So you want to go add your second layer. You try not to move the camera or anything. Of course, I already did move the camera, so... And sometimes that's going to happen. It's going to move a little bit. But even if you don't, you may end up with some positional issues. So we're going to go to 90%, where our last one was, and you can see it's already moved. They're completely off, so then you have to try and position it perfectly and hope and pray. And if it's an intricate decal like this, it's really going to be an issue. If it's something that's more of an abstract pattern or a basic shape, it might be more easily alignable. But this is, you're kind of guessing because the layers have a lot of intricacies to them. So I think this is especially an issue if you're on align with camera or align with surface, one of the two, where you have moving decals and you have to not only resize them exactly right, which can be tough because the number is not necessarily indicative that they're the same size, because there are minute adjustments within every percentage of your scale, but also you have to adjust the positioning. And I have done this before where I didn't move the camera at all, and I still had to adjust the positioning of layers. So again, not quite sure how that works. If it's when you're on align with surface or align with camera, maybe that's the difference, but I have run into it and it is a problem. And of course, I mean, you can go ahead and put together something intricate like this, or something with a lot of details. It may just be, you know, a multi-layered logo or whatever, but it's going to end up a little distorted, and it's going to be painstaking and take a lot of time to get them all to align perfect. So rather than doing all that and having to adjust positioning, or even having to risk adjusting positioning, certainly you're going to have to adjust the scale. What you can do instead is go grab your layer 1, get it to the size you want. We'll go just to 90%, get it to the position you want. We'll try it right there. I believe there's kind of a circular pattern around this one, so I'm not quite going to want it as centered as it appears now, but a little bit off, I think. So then we have our first layer placed. You press triangle over here on your right side menu on that decal layer, and you go on to duplicate layer. I believe that when I was explaining this to friends before, I said copy layer, but it's duplicate layer. So now you have two identical layers, identically sized. If you change the color on them, they'll both be the same color. Of course, you don't want to do this because this layered decal has multiple colors between the layers. but they will be whatever color settings you have set. If they're original color, they'll stay original color, which won't affect your layer when you do this, which is replace the second layer. So you've now got the exact size, the original coloration, no color modifications, the exact position. You grab your second layer decal, and it's going to place in exactly the same size, exactly where it's supposed to be. And you're just going to repeat this process. So we're going to duplicate layer 2. Now we have a duplicate of layer 2. We want to replace that with layer 3. That's layer 3. We're going to duplicate that. Then we're going to replace that. If you change the color, like if I make this blue, then when you go and replace it with your next layer, that's also going to be blue. They're going to be the exact same shade of blue. And you'll no longer have your multicolored image if it is a multicolored layered decal. So we have a duplicate of layer 3. We're going to go grab layer 4. Now we have layer 4. We're going to duplicate that. You can't see it because of course those two layers are completely identical, but there's two layer 4s there. Now you're going to replace the duplicate of layer 4. Grab layer 5. Duplicate layer 5. Replace layer 5 with layer 6. Duplicate layer 6. Replace. We're now on layer 7. Don't want to forget where we are, obviously. I always kind of just make a mental note of what number I'm on in the layers. Duplicate layer 7. Replace with 8. Whoops. Duplicate layer 8. Replace decal layer 8 with layer 9. Duplicate 9. Replace 9 with 10. Duplicate 10. Replace that duplicate with layer 11. I believe we've got 13 on this one. Yep. Duplicate layer 11. Replace that duplicate with layer 12. We're almost there. Duplicate layer 12. Replace that duplicate with layer 13, and we're going to be done here. And sometimes you'll see, there's the finished product, 1 through 13. Sometimes you'll see when you're looking around in the decal showcase or gallery or whatever you want to call it, the creators of the decals will mention you can use copy paste or copy replace or duplicate replace procedure, and that's referring to this, where you just go in here, hit duplicate, then you replace it, you go into your collection or whatever, into the decal library, and replace it with the next layer. You can see this is like a photograph or a painting of somebody, in this case Teyana Taylor, but everything is perfectly aligned and perfectly scaled. And I made an extra duplicate there just for reference purposes. We don't need that. So there is the full 13 layer decal and how to duplicate and replace the entire layer decal precisely. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hope it helped.